How to be more confident. Do you need more confidence in your working interactions environment? In this video, I'm going to give you a really powerful tool that is going to give you more confidence. And I bet you haven't actually used or come across this before. My name is Laura Chattington, and I am the lead trainer at activatemycareerlive.com. And I was thinking this morning about what was the number one thing that I needed to progress my career, progress my communication, progress my career in the working world. What was the number one thing I needed, but I didn't realize I needed it? And what was the number one thing that really, really helped me early on? And the thing is it gave me huge amounts of confidence when I communicated in situations where, when there was more pressure, high pressure situations, giving presentations or talking to senior stakeholders or talking to your boss or, going out into industry and having to connect and network with people. So it actually took me a really, really long time to figure this out because I didn't even know that I needed it. In the beginning, when I went into these important meetings, I'd feel tense, nervous, and sort of, when you get your sort of hands a bit sweaty, and you sort of go into these meetings, there's so much going on in your brain. You're thinking about what you have to say and what you have to do, but you're also I guess it's that imposter syndrome that's telling you that you're going to mess everything up. And I'd come out of the meetings kind of like feeling quite exhausted. And at the time I had a coach, and I went to the coach and I said to the coach, why am I doing this to myself? Why do I keep doing this to myself? Why don't I just go in and perform in these meetings in the way I know I can? And my coach asked me to sort of tell her, how did I prepare for the meeting? What happened? And I sort of said, I'd prepare for the meeting, I'd go in, I'd sit in my chair uncomfortably, I'd try and answer the questions, I'd come out, this is what I do. She asked me all of the things that the process I went to. And one of the things she also asked me was, what was I saying to myself during, but also after I came out of the meeting? And I was like, yeah, I was probably saying something like, that didn't go well, or that went badly, or God, did I say that? And she said to me, I know exactly what your problem is. I was like, great, it's great. When you've got a coach and they know what your problem is, it's like, awesome. Tell me, what's my problem? She said, you are lacking certainty when it comes to your communication. You're lacking certainty. Because she said, what goes on inside of you is what you're communicating outside of you. So if you don't feel certain in what you're saying and what you're communicating, how do you expect anyone you're communicating to be certain about what you're saying? How would they do that if you're not certain in what you're doing? I was kind of like, yeah, okay, so that makes sense. So question is, how do I become certain? How do I communicate more certain? How do I become more certain in myself when I'm feeling under pressure and nervous? And she said, do you know, there's a way. I was like, freaking awesome, great. She said to me, think of something that has happened in your past. So maybe you got married, maybe you had a kid, maybe you had a job you used to have, maybe it was somewhere you went on holiday, maybe it was lunch with a friend last week. Just think of something that you absolutely know has happened already. And it's like you just done it, right? You just did it. It is what it is. It's already happened. There's no kind of emotional hoopla or anything like that. It is what it is. It's already done. It's just, you did it. So think about something that you've got And when you speak with that level of certainty about something, when you speak with that level of certainty about something, other people buy into that. They do. It's such an attractive way to communicate, because people are like, okay, she's absolutely certain in this. I'm going to buy into that. Now, I'm assuming, although I can't talk to you and this isn't live, I'm assuming that you would want some practical ways of becoming more certain in the situations that are coming up in the future, right? So how do you use that principle of certainty when you're communicating in the future? Well, the good thing is it's not about sort of jumping up and down and running around and doing crazy stuff. There's actually a very simple way to give you that certainty, and it's really, really cool. The way that you do it is you start seeing and hearing the responses of the people in that situation in the future. Start seeing and hearing the responses of the people in that situation when you have gone into it and you've nailed it. Right? You start seeing and hearing the responses and interacting and imagining that situation going really well. So, for instance, let me give you a practical example. One time I had to go into a meeting and there were like 20 directors, 20, I don't know, there were at least 20 of them, senior directors. I had to go in and give this presentation for, I think it was like 15 or 20 minutes. And then I had to pick up their QA, answer any questions after it. And I was feeling pretty tense about it, but I wanted it to go amazingly well because it was, really important in the job at the time. So I actually spent some imagination time, visualizing and hearing that presentation going the way I wanted it and how people reacted to it. Like my boss coming up to me afterwards and saying, Laura, that was amazing. You really nailed that. That was awesome. And people in the audience asking me questions and, hearing the questions they were asking me and me answering them really competently. I was sort of imagining that situation and what I was hearing and what I was seeing in that situation when I really, really nailed it. And that certainty, it develops that certainty in your brain, links up some of the networks in your brain for that certainty, and you get that confidence from that certainty of the situation going the way you want it to. So you visualize, you imagine the situation, whatever it is, that where you want more confidence, and you imagine all the things people are going to say and what you're going to see, but specifically what they're going to say to you, how they're going to look, and the expressions on their faces when you really nail it. And from that certainty, you're going to get confidence. Because if you don't make things up the way you want them to go, guess what? Your brain makes up things the way you don't want it to go. It's like worry, isn't it? It's worry. And so why not make things up the absolute way you want them to go? And it's just using the same principles. So, I was imagining people saying, Laura, that was an awesome presentation. Laura, come back. Can you come and do this again for my team? Because it's really, really valuable. I want you to get on this next project, Laura. I was imagining all these things that I imagined to happen. And it's funnily enough, when you start hearing and seeing the way you want things to go, funnily enough, for some reason, those are the types of things that happen. And as I said, if you start imagining things not going the way you want them to, then you're kind of doomed and you end up going in and screwing up the meeting, right? So confidence comes from hearing and seeing and being certain about what's going to happen. You get confidence from seeing and hearing the situation going the way you want, and you get really certain about that situation going the way you want it. And that's what you're running through your head. So guess what? When it happens in real life, you really, really nail that communication and you do it with confidence. So start imagining those conversations, those people, that experience in your head. Start running that through your head and start running it the way that you want it to go. And the other thing you can do, and again, it's kind of, I don't know what for me, I can't describe it. You have to have the experience, but just by verbalizing, thank you for that happening the way I want it. Thank you for that person coming up and interacting with me. Just saying it out loud. There's something about gearing up your brain so that these interactions go the way you want to. So see and hear and visualize and imagine those interactions going really well, and get grateful and say out loud, thank you for the things going the way you want them to. And with those kind of two things, you're just going to go in there and perform with more confidence and more certainty. And remember, your past doesn't define your future. And when you take action and you implement this stuff, you're just going to go in there with so much more confidence. So this tool is part of the toolkit that we share in a masterclass that I training, which is called activatemycareerlive.com. And it's for professionals who feel like they're stuck in their career and want to really elevate themselves in the workplace, want to get promoted, get pay rises, 5 or 6 figure pay rises, and also secure their job in the downturn economy that we're in right now. And the great thing about it is once you start implementing some of these tools, you can do it again and again and again, because once you've got this system, these tools in your toolkit, you can use them for the rest of your career. And it's absolutely, it's a game changer. So join us at the masterclass. All you got to do is go to www.activatemycareerlive.com and secure your place right now. And I look forward to seeing you there.